Looks like we got a tear. Let's patch this up. How's it going, dive buddies? It is Cal here, and we all love it when our wetsuits keep us nice and warm and toasty. But sometimes, due to all sorts of different reasons, our wetsuits can develop little nicks and tears and cuts in them. In this video, I'm going to show you a super simple, easy way with a contact cement that you can fix your wetsuits so you can jump right back in the water and not miss a single dive. So our nails are quite often the culprit when it comes to creating these nicks and cuts along our wetsuit. When we're pulling the wetsuit on and we're taking the wetsuit off on the arms and the legs, sometimes our sharp nails cut in and create these little gouges. The fix is usually a simple one. Most small tears and cuts can be fixed with some sort of contact cement or seal cement like this particular one here. These products allow us to glue the two sides of the tear back together and allows it to dry in a way that is still elastic and allows it to stretch and not tear again. And you usually don't have to perform any sort of stitching when it comes to these small repairs, unless maybe the tear or rip happens to occur across a large seam or something like that. And there are also patches that you can get out there for patching neoprene should you have a larger hole or something where you can't actually bring the two seams of the wetsuit or the hood of the gloves back together. So the list of things that we're going to need for this repair are very simple. The first of which is some sort of neoprene glue or seal cement like this particular one. This is the Magnet seal cement. This is the brand that I have. Now the second thing that you may need is an optional one. It's a plastic lid or a wipeable surface of some sort. I use this as a palette for the contact cement. I find that with this particular bottle, it comes out a little too aggressively onto the wetsuit and I end up having too much seal cement on the actual repair area and it just becomes a mess and really sticky and gross. So I use a little plastic lid, I put a little bit on the lid and then I transfer quickly to the neoprene and it's just a little bit more manageable that way. Now to transfer the seal cement from the palette to the wetsuit, I use Q-tips, but I cut the swab end, and now I have these little kind of cardboard little picks that I can use to scoop them up and kind of work the seal cement into the little nooks and crannies of the tear. And the last thing that I do use for this repair is some sort of heavy object. In this particular case, I'm going to be using a 3-pound piece of lead, but you could use a bunch of heavy books or any sort of heavy item that you have around. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to find and locate the nick and tear on our suit. So for this particular suit, the tear happens to be down on the left ankle of the wetsuit. And what we want to do here is we want to actually put the two sides, the actual tear, we want to kind of put them back together because we want to make sure that they're actually, when we glue them together, they're going to actually sit flush and there isn't going to be any sort of big chunks or holes missing of neoprene that would require some sort of patch. Perfect. Then you can take some seal cement and place it on both sides of the tear on the neoprene. This is a contact cement, so we're going to need to wait for just a couple of minutes for it to get tacky before we place the two edges together. So maybe after 30 seconds to a minute or so, once the contact cement has gotten tacky, we can put the two ends back together. And I typically like to put maybe a piece of cardboard or an old cereal box or paper towel underneath the area that we're working on so that runoff doesn't get stuck on the other side of the suit, kind of gluing everything together. And then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to put our heavy object, in this case our piece of lead, on the repaired area to keep the two ends pressed against each other until they dry. 24 hours or so for full cure and you're going to be good to go. And of course the principle is exactly the same for hoods and gloves and any other neoprene items that you have that have little cuts or nicks in them. And that's it for today's quick scuba tip, guys. I hope you like this video. If you're new around here, maybe consider subscribing to the Dive Wagon. We'd love to have you on board. As always, thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time and happy diving.